Day one for us is always going to be about mentality. It's going to be about physicality, identity, establishing all the things that go intangible with our program, making sure our guys are starting to get a very good understanding of our systems and running those systems, as well as situational football. We combine that with technical work, fundamental work, processes, learning how to practice. We've got to build really good habits, like really, really strong, hardcore cultural habits that make us elite human beings to allow us to be elite football players. So with the challenge right now being getting off that field quickly, getting your food, getting showered up and getting to class early, because early is on time. So all these things come together when you have spring practice, but certainly it's that next phase for us. First day, some good energy, long ways to go, right? We're kind of here and we want to go over there, and we've got that big gap, but that's what you would expect on a day one, but there is good energy. We're not very deep, but we are working hard, and there's a lot of enthusiasm. They've done what they've been asked to do, so that being said, open to questions.
You mentioned a lot of T's. What about the insanity of Mario Cristobal being back at his home doing his thing?
Yeah, it's pretty insane. That's pretty insane. Someone, because now it's the first 100 days. I think it was today, or it was yesterday or today, where 100 days actually kick in. So, man, it still hasn't set in. But what did set in is that this journey began 25 years ago. 25 years ago. I'm like, wow, that's that first meeting with Coach Davis upstairs that led to this opportunity. So, yeah, the excitement is like through the roof and through the stratosphere to be able to get after it. Always keeping in mind that we've got to teach and teach and teach, and then teach some more as we mentor. But keeping the focus on them, I'll focus on my stuff, someday maybe in, I don't know, July, when we could have things settle down a little bit and then reflect a little bit. But no, without a doubt, it's absolutely, man, it's awesome.
Mario,
It's awesome.
first, condolences.
Thank you.
How much therapy was this for you to get back out here on the field?
Oh, that's exactly what she wanted. We have, services are today, and this is exactly what she wants. And so it's all good. And again, the energy, being around these guys, the enthusiasm is, it's very real. And they know that, I just go. And so today's about going and moving forward and making sure that everything that was ever taught to us, my brother and I, that's always carried on in our daily doings.
There's a lot of teaching out there.
A lot of teaching. These guys are more teachable than I was growing up, that's for sure.
Mario, also my condolences.
Thank you.
Everyone's, I think. You always talk about how meaningful it is
Mm-hmm.
to be back home, and you got to spend the last 3 months with your mom.
Mm-hmm.
How meaningful was that? And also, I met her when she was younger. Was she a woman who would have given you advice today? What kind of advice?
You better go to practice. I make no bones about it. I mean, that's exactly, and the coaches were asking, well, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Job's not done. Job's not finished. And that's what we are supposed to do. So, no, she is the best part about her. She's relentless, tireless. There's no give, she's going to finish everything. And that's what we do. That's the way we've been raised. So I think it's good. I think it was incredible to be on Green Tree today. Man, I remember practicing out here as a player. I remember coaching out here as a GA and as a position coach or whatnot. So Green Tree is sacred ground, guys. And when we step on that field, we got to understand that every time we step out on that field, that nothing but our very best will be good enough. And it doesn't mean that the plays are perfect or the technique is perfect, but it means that every ounce of what we have has to be poured into what we do, and that's got to be the secret sauce of the Miami Hurricanes. It always has been, the way we work and the way we practice.
Coach, we'll do a couple more questions for Coach. He's got to get to a service, but go ahead.
We get to talk to the quarterbacks today, Tyler. Just, I know, 100 days, what type of impression have they made? Their approach?
Those guys, they approach their responsibilities, their obligations like professionals. They're all about ball. They're in there spending extra time in the film room. They're hunting down coaches to get extra time with them as well. They're all about it. And they are great leaders, and they lead by example. And then you could feel them too, their presence. They're vocal, and they're vocal in the right kind of way. Sometimes when you have young leaders, they kind of just spew out whatever they feel at the moment. These guys are they're very intentional with everything they say and everything they do. And so very impressed with them. And just overall, I think the best message, we have to learn how to practice before we learn how to play. And as long as we continue making progress there, we'll be where we need to be at the end of the spring and then heading into, the summertime.
Last,
We're good. We got a couple more. I go fast. We're good.
You mentioned, kind of a
I'm
lack,
sorry, brother. You're good. You're good. I address fast.
you mentioned a lack of depth, a lot of guys who are out for spring.
There are.
How much does that affect you guys, not just in the spring, but, going into the fall?
It does, and it helps as well. Hopefully, I know Cam got you guys an injury report, so that way you guys have it. So that way, guys, we could always be open and transparent as much as we can be without giving up anything game plan-wise. And therefore, that way there's no narrative out there. You know what's up. Some guys are limited. We'll see them later in the spring. Not having those guys, man, you'd like to, from a performance standpoint, you'd like to see the highest level of performance by your team. When you don't have some of your more talented players and some of your more experienced players, performance is going to suffer. Execution is going to suffer some, but that's okay because it will during the season also. God forbid there is an injury. There is some type of substitution that you have to make an adjustment. But there's a tremendous positive to that, and that's other guys get reps. Other guys are getting tapped on the shoulder and being told, hey man, it's your time. And that's how we've trained. The difference is now there's pushback. Why? We've been training against whistles and horns and sleds and all that stuff, right? And finish lines. Well, now it's bodies on bodies. Now it's leverage. Now it's physicality. And now there's got to be pushback. Now there's got to be finish. And now the biggest part, there has to be an agreement. They have to, I won't say we have to allow ourselves to be pushed, all of us. We all have to be challenged. We all have to be pushed to reach our very best.
the coaching staff you have, kind of specifically a lot of the off-field guys, it's a huge staff, it seems like. Just how important was that for you to be able to build a staff like that has guys like Jason Taylor?
Well, I think some of it's important, especially for recruits out there and their parents. Here, it's a little bit different because I get the privilege of being and the honor of being the head coach. I played here. This is not a tag or a label or a shirt you just put on. This is in the heart. Then you hire a staff that is widely regarded, the best professionals in the industry at their respective positions. You surround them with guys that are Hall of Famers, high-level experience, that have also gone back to high school and coached at a high level and won state championships. It's a tremendous combination of hard-working, high football IQ, high character, high work ethic individuals that allow us to develop at an extremely high level. We want when a player and a prospect, and you saw some of the recruits out here today, when they show up here, you want them to feel that their son is going to be challenged, pushed, educated, taught, mentored, watched over like it's their very own son by the best of the best. So that's the I guess that's our formula. That's our flow chart. And the intention of that is, again, to get the very best out of every individual and to make sure we're creating a think tank upstairs where we're generating good, strong ideas that help us get better as a program. I don't think staffs or recruiting's ever done. I just think it's like it just keeps going and going and going because you just never know, right? The NFL makes moves, you make moves, guys pop up, there's opportunities here, you could expand your flow chart and you could add people. So I hate to say it's done. I don't think it's ever done. And that's a good thing, That's a good thing. Good? Guys, hey, thank you very much for your thoughts and prayers. I greatly appreciate it, and thank you for being here today.